Today, I think we're going to be talking about religion, or at least my feel. I'd have to define myself as an atheist, but I never wanted to identify as that. I used to, for a while, I used to identify as spiritual after I got into like yoga and stuff like that, and believing in like the connection of everything. I still believe that there's a connection in everything. The fact that we were all everything was put on this earth, created on this earth, and it's all connected. It's all made up of the same matter, and I also have this philosophy where I think a rock is just as valuable as human life. I don't like the hierarchy that's around today, but I kind of lost my spirituality, and I never wanted to be identified as an atheist, and I never could put a finger on why. It's just, I guess you're naming something, but when you don't want to be called an atheist, people think you're agnostic, and I'm definitely not agnostic. But with all that aside, let me step back a second. I did do a video on finding magic again a few years ago, and I don't really believe in that either. Confirmation biased, that is what magic is, but I have changed that. So, when you're doing something and you feel like it's providence is the old word that they used to use. I do like to use that word a lot recently. But you feel like there's a reason or a meaning. You see something that you've been thinking about. You get a phone call from somebody you've been thinking about. You're holding something in your hand that the radio is playing. All those things kept happening over and over again, and I was like, I'm going through some kind of like spiritual manifestation. Like all of these coincidences were showing up. And they do talk about this when you talk about like The Secret, which I tried to believe in. I wanted to believe in a manifestation and stuff like that, but I realized that my whole life I've been in gratitude and manifestation and being delirious, thinking I had this magical future just ahead of me. Apparently, that is an ADHD symptom. I have to do some more videos on ADHD, but there's this magical feeling in you that you feel that it's just around the corner. There's something wonderful is going to happen, and it's just around the corner. But the older you get and that thing doesn't happen, it's you get like broken down, but not really, because it never goes away. That feeling, something that great, that big break, that someone's going to discover you, or something magical is going to happen. It's something magical is going to happen. Anyway, I hate magic. I hate spirituality. I hate all religions. I think that, I do, when I discover people on YouTube that I like to watch and stuff, authentic, real people, every once in a while I find out that they're religious, and I do get a little bit disappointed, but at least it helps me knowing that there are actually some good people out there like that are also religious. But for the most part, religion is such an indoctrination. I also find it the same way with money and power. People just have that. They can't shake it. You can't get rid of it. And there's Catholic guilt, and people throwing out. Now, I guess I'm not gonna get into too much religious talk right now, but there is a sort of magic in history and the power of things. I've always been obsessed with Catholicism and just the feeling that, just seeing the power that physical objects have over people, which brings me to my collection today. And I found out things recently that this stuff isn't as old as I want it to be. So I'm gonna have to look into that deeper, and I'm thinking I have to look into Mesopotamia, because what I found is that there are things that have so much energy and power. And a modern day example of this that I can talk about is when I go to New York City, you can actually feel the energy coming off of the streets up through your legs. Well, I can. Oh yeah, that's trauma. There is something about my personality that seems to be different from everyone else, that I because of childhood trauma, you build this defense mechanism where you're able to read people, and I've always been able to read people and know if they're good or bad, or if they can basically if they're going to cause harm, if I'm safe at that time. So this is a known scientific fact, and I've never understood why until recently, the whole meaning behind it. I just knew that people bored me because I could sum them up instantly and know what they're about. That's also, I guess that's energy. There's collective energy that's actually proven. So, see, after me just throwing away all of this stuff about magic and nothing exists, and not even believing in connection, but I do believe in connection. Like I said, it's all here. It was all created. We're all made from Earth. We're all made from the same thing. So there's got to be a connection. But there's something about there being so much power in things that they actually, I feel power from them, and they excite me, and they're old wisdom, and they've been around such a long time. So what I thought about is, like, am I searching for religion? And at the same time, I thought about, if I was to start my own religion, where would I begin from? And I thought about caveman. I do have this thing that I've always done was, what would I do if I was a caveman? And it fixes like problems that are like scientists baffle with. Like the egg is a good example. The egg comes in and out of vogue even in modern history. Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? Bad cholesterol, bad fats. And actual scientists, actual doctors, which is a learned smart, listen to me talk, a learned smartness. It's not real. It's not real smart. Regurgitating knowledge is not just because they read these things. This is what they're taught. Like, there's been different kinds of nutrition pyramids during my lifespan, changing, coming in and out of vogue, things that new science, and then that science is defeated. But the egg is a really good example because it's good, and then it's bad, and then it's good again, and then it's bad again. Like, even in modern history, my standard is, what would a caveman do? So I've always known that the egg was a nutritious whole food. All whole foods are nutritious, but there's sometimes, there's quantity and stuff that you have to take consider if process, but an unprocessed food. So this is just my example of caveman standards, is that's how you know something is innately good. Medicine, not good, because quick fixes. So that is something that we're indoctrinated in with also, is that there are no quick fixes. But for some reason we think that we can take a pill and make everything better, and that kind of baffles me. And this, most of the time, we're just treating symptoms. Anyway, let's stop this preaching, religious connotation implied, and let's talk about these things that, spark joy, could we say? Or could we say that because they have mystical powers, because people thought they had mystical powers, they kind of have power because of the perception of them. And also, it's just things that I'm drawn to and like. I think that last tangent I got off on was because of the 4 elements, and me standing on Earth as a caveman. I thought about the things that are definite. So what do I know as an observer standing on Earth? I know that there's north, south, east, and west. I know that there's 4 elements, and those 4 elements were thought of for a reason, because they're the states of matter, basically. We've got Earth, we've got water, we've got air, and we've got fire. And the fire is magical, but there's probably a fifth element that's like mystery, that we don't know. And I am open to that. It's spatial, it's blackness, it's nothing, it's everything. So that's kind of magic. But my new magic, my new religion is when coincidences happen, it's why are these coincidences happening is what I think. And there are patterns, like for example, I chose the music I'm listening to. I chose the things that I surround myself with. So maybe it's not so strange that the thing I just pick up is mentioned in the song that I'm listening to. That it's not it's just because I'm surrounding myself by things that I love and enjoy. And of course, there's going to be a theme to that. So here's the theme to these things that I have had. Some of these things I've had for decades. And it hasn't changed. So there must be reason and power, and there must be a reason why I've always been drawn to these things and why they excite me so much. So let's go. Okay. Tarot cards. I think that the oldest thing that I have here is this pack of tarot cards, which was a starter deck. And I believe I got it in Salem, Massachusetts, if that's where it is. And I had always been obsessed with the occult, and I loved it, and I don't know where it came from. Egyptian. Oh yeah, I talk about Mesopotamia. I have to do some research on Mesopotamia. But this was a starter deck, so I have a lot of tarot deck cards here. And I think in this video, I guess at the end of this video, because it's already way too long, I'm gonna put this deck of cards. So there's something about cards in general and collecting, and I am a big collector, and cards are kind of the first things to collect. In fact, I'm doing this video in my toy review space for my toy channel, but these are my adult toys, my magical mystical toys, and I definitely want to expand this collection. But I like to put cards in binders like this. So these are Charles Eames cards. There's some, not to get off on a tangent, but Mattel is putting out some cards that I need to get. Oh, also what else? Oh yeah, there's this Mexican game that I can never remember. Gallo? Oh no, I think that's the company. Anyway, it's a Mexican card game that is also really cool, that I really like. So I always wanted some tarot cards that I could put in a binder like this, so I could flip through and see all of the pictures. And I was looking at I forget where, a German store, and I have a friend in Germany, Andy, sent me all of these cards that I asked because I was looking through the store and they had all of these cards, and for the first time ever they had these cards, and I haven't opened them. In fact, I wasn't even sure that they were going to be the right dimensions to fit into the sleeves. I was kind of worried, but I opened them up. Now, ideally, because tarot definitely came from Italy, would have been its roots, Italy and France. So these are in German. It's also kind of cool. And then this brings me to, okay, so those, at the end of this video, I'm probably going to expand the video, and I'm going to put those into the sleeves, so if you want to see all of the pictures. But I do have that. So that's probably my newest tarot deck that I got. And then this is the one where I think I looked up online for pictures of tarot, and I wanted the oldest pictures possible. So these are a reproduction. Now this is where it gets, this stuff isn't as old as I want. So these would have been in the 1800s, the late 1800s, that the artist that made these, this guy, drew these, but he drew them to look like they were around the 1400s is when tarot would have been first developed. But I don't think he kind of had to make things up or do them in the style of. And this, the most this deck, which is also the same drawings as this, which is something really cool about this, is, which I think should be brought up more often, is that Smith, the artist that drew this design in the early 1900s, I think 1908 or something like that, is when the Rider Waite deck, which is, sometimes they call it Waite and sometimes they call it Rider. I think that has to do with the publisher and the guy who developed it with the concept. Anyway, this is the most definitive, but it's not very old. It's only 1900s. However, 1900, turn of the century, that's my jam. That is that's what I'm into. That's the time period that I like the most, I'd have to say. It's evolved, first settlers. It's just a pioneer. I like it. I like it in my everyday aesthetic. Anyway, so I've had decks like this. I had gifts from people. Brian and Veronica gave me this set, and it's kind of spacey. It's like, normally I don't like tarot cards because they're all so hippy dippy and kind of art that I don't relate to. Now, the old art, of course, I do relate to, but this was actually a really cool set, and I did show it on my toy channel at Christmas time when I received the parcel, and I was really into space, and I'm still into space, and that's kind of this new connection. Can we do some shifting here? No, I'll finish showing my card collection. So I am very obsessed with cards, and so there were a lot of different cards like these ones, and again, tarot was not that old. I think it was, tarot. I think this is where the word tarot actually comes from. Now, this is the German version. Again, these aren't Italian, but these pictures are based on old styles, and I love this, and I love how there's the Egyptian or Mesopotamian influences in these cards and everything, and Roman, and it's got all of that old stuff. And then so there were just all these weird old art pictures that I thought were really cool and thought that I had to get. And then, oh yeah, like the Mexican card game, there's also this German card game, which I have a few versions, and I think that there's some politically incorrect things going on in there as well. And then space, cards about dinosaurs. I mean, we're getting into caveman days. We're getting into the solar system, looking out, standing on Earth, seeing where we're from. So yes, I think that these are the most classic. So just old-fashioned card games, and I think there's some kitties here, which is also adorable. So I want to get into those cards, which I got probably a few years ago, and I always wanted to look at. Another set of tarot cards that I got from the dollar store for $4. See, this is an example of art that I wouldn't normally like, but it was a tarot deck that was at the dollar store, and it's actually kind of cool. It's kind of pop arty, which is kind of how I felt about these ones that Brian and Veronica sent me, because they're kind of pop art, and they're kind of spacey, and they're kind of, it's just a really cool interpretation of them. All right, so what else do I have here that's not, I have some Bible trivia. Again, I've always been obsessed with religion, and I didn't know why until like probably just the other day, where I said why, and it's because of the power behind these things. I actually knew this the whole time. That's not a new discovery, really. Okay, all right. So space comes in the form of rocks and toys, and let me tell you how some of the stuff that I thought about. So I had some bells, some jingly school bells, antique bells that I had like sitting up. What else did I have? I had one of those dingers that you press, and I had them sitting out on my trunk over there, like an end table or a table in my window, just collecting dust, and I never used them. So I was like going down to the basement, and on this channel I did do a hope chest video, where I have this bin, there's just a Rubbermaid bin in the basement full of like antique stuff, like if I actually had a house, stuff that I would put around the house, but because, I'm crammed in this tiny little room, it's not really a tiny room, but because I have so much stuff, it's just stuff that I collected over the years that I didn't want to get rid of. I might have to revisit that chest again, because there's stuff that doesn't live up to my standards. There's junk. But when I went down it to put those bells that I don't use but I didn't want to get rid of, I realized that I don't think, like, a tuning fork, also very, very magical to me. More magical than any bell. School, even though an old antique school bell is pretty cool. That's turn of the century alarm system. But a tuning fork, I have to do research on a tuning fork. I don't know when they were first invented, but tuning forks are, like, the sound is, it's a magical frequency. And a lot of this does have to do with frequency. Frequencies are real. Colors are also something that I'm super into now. Which I guess we'll get back to that in a second too. There's a lot of examples of that. So, when I went down to the chest, I found some things that before we get back into the chest, let's look at. So this is a new thing, and I don't know where it came from. Yes, I do, and it happened on this video because I was going through my jars, which are spiritual and magical to me anyway. My jars full of things that are game pieces, and I realized, so like those cards that I showed you, Charles Eames MoMA cards. Oh man, I'm all over ADHD all over the place, but I don't know. This is what a religious experience is like. Everything is pointing together. Everything is making sense. Everything's coming together. So, but coincidences, it's not providence. It's not fate. It's just, I guess I'm pinpointing, I'm identifying in life what's important to me. And the natural elements, yes, you can see here that most of these things like paper, the tactile, rocks, stones, earth, fire, liquid, water, vessels for holding, these things are very, very important to me. So I guess it's because, so I was looking at the stones that I have collected, and I remember being in New York, back to New York, and going to a rock store and trying to find ones that looked like this collection of, like, precious stones. Like, that's what I wanted. I think that might go back to, like, the Goonies, where they had, the one kid managed to take out, I guess it was the main character in the story, Sean Austin. He managed to take some of the gems out of the loot of One-Eyed Willie's, and he had this bag full of gems, and I just thought it looked so, and I always wanted, like, these all different colored gemstones, and I tried to do it, and I tried pirate treasure. That's so funny because my other thing was pirate treasure. So I am obsessed with pirates too. I mean, that's old, mystical, cool, scary, like, magic. Okay, so for some reason, and then chakras. So, like, yoga I was really into. So I'm just trying to think where these things came from, and I noticed that the chakras were the colors of the rainbow, but also I discovered that those concepts were all pretty new too. But I did buy this set off of Amazon, and it has, like, the shape of these stones are far better than, like, the $80 that I spent at the rock store getting those stones. And I love that these ones are square shaped. And this is the kind that, like, I saw them, and when I ordered them, I was really pleasantly surprised. And then I realized I liked shining lights through them, and I mean, I got super duper enthralled, and I love them. And so I keep these out, and I also collect this pottery. Again, that's from Earth, like, and it's turn of the century antique pottery. So whenever I see it at a thrift store, how can I not buy something that's from the 1800s? I don't know how old this piece is. It could actually be handmade, but it's always going to be made with, what do they call it? Why do I always forget? Sometimes they call it sandstone, ironstone, stoneware. I guess it's just called stoneware. It's just rudimentary clay, and usually painted brown, but I've got a collection. I've showed it a million times. So this is just the representation of that collection, but it's good. I needed some vessel to put these main chakra stones in. However, there's one of the colors that are missing. Orange wasn't in this set. So, but then maybe I don't have to put emphasis on that. All right, so more stones, which I thought I was going to do in this video, which I was going to take this out. So I found this advent calendar for the same, basically the same price as these, which was $15, which I probably shouldn't be buying stuff, but I just wanted a stone collection. So I think I am going to do some kind of like, I guess I'm going to have a Hojo Mojo like advent calendar this year, even though I'm so against religion and so far against even spirituality, because I saw, like, for example, with The Secret. So let's get back into religion. Why is my face so white and my body looks so tanned? It's the lighting. I saw with The Secret that how it's built, how it's just like another religion which is built to make you feel guilty or not good enough, or like you're not trying hard enough. Because if you're not manifesting right, then you're doing it wrong, and then you need more help, and then maybe you need to pay, like you have to pay. What's her name? Ezra Hicks, Irma Hicks, or whatever her name is. Ezra. It's so funny because she uses a different name. She uses a name that is actually a name used for God. So she's pretending. I know she's pretending that she's channeling God, and she's telling you that you're not manifesting hard enough. So you have to manifest harder, and you're not doing it right, because that's why you don't have everything you want. But I know for sure that I was always living in this delusional world where I believed that something, like I said, magical was about to happen, and I believed all of my dreams would come true. And guess what? They didn't come true, and I truly believed it. So I've always been manifesting, and I'm going to do another video about my enlightenment and how I'm enlightened, but I got here from a place of necessity and a place of no other choice. It's not, I fell into it. I didn't have any option to, but that's a story for another day. Okay. So I'm super against spirituality, and I'm super against, like, I still love yoga. It has to do with movement and exercise and surrounding yourself with energy of other people. But I don't want more. I don't want more than that. I don't. And in fact, I like when the teachers are a little like spacey and a little Hojo Mojo, because I don't know. I like quirky people. I like their energy. I probably like their energy of belief. I like that they believe in something, and that they're not jaded, or most of the time they are, though. That's why you're there. I mean, this is me finding religion, searching for, but I'm trying to search for what's real and what has power, and maybe Mary Kondo knows it all, sparking joy. Like, there's something why I'm drawn to these things. So this is also a pretty awesome stone collection, and it scratches that itch of all of the different colors they're like gemstones. They're just, it's the same as a diamond or a ruby or an emerald. It's just that we don't have maybe those are more expensive because they're more rare. But these are just as precious and magical in the fact that, especially the ones that with a light, I'm going to have to get a really cool flashlight, because there are certain ones that you can put light through them and And those are my favorite, when you shine a light through them and you just see them glow. But then there's rocks that have this magical, like this cat's eye here. Like, so I'm into rocks now. I mean, I don't know too much, but that's probably going to change because I've got 24. I'll be putting those in the advent calendar. And I think right now, like, yeah, I'm not going to be doing it for the doors, but I'll make my little bags that I hang around for my advent calendar. So I'm gonna put these in a jar. I'm really excited about that. I love my jars. They're almost as magical as them. And the fact that I didn't realize, like, I'm Scrabble pieces, the fact that there's something about game pieces. And that actually was something that I stumbled upon when I was looking at Mesopotamia, and I was looking for something tactile that I could hold in my hand. Like, that's what tarot is. It's like a game. And the marbles and the chess pieces, and I didn't even realize that I was collecting, I mean, wooden spools, but it's all this natural and collecting, which is a very human state. These jars, and it really does all come back to the four elements, and it's and the real colors. I've been really looking into what real colors are, what the real primary colors are, and and there's secondary and additive, and there's reasons that again, another channel, another day. So when I went down to the Hope Chest, I was realizing that I love this because it's spiritual. Because it has power behind it. I found these things, like I have a crystal ball. Like, what's up with that? You might be wondering what this is. We will get to that. Oh, and I didn't get to this either. I don't know. I have a crystal ball, though. We'll get to that in a second. These blocks. So it's so funny that these are in with the religion. But you know what? These blocks are probably as old. Again, they're toys. They're games. So much. I'm kind of even. Yeah. Oh my goodness. There's rune stones here. This got to go on. So I don't know. I mean, I was just going to say, I don't know where it comes from. I hold this up and there's these primary colors here talking about the basic colors. And you know what? These primary colors are maybe closer to the normal ones, because this is kind of a cyan, magenta. I guess they're not. It's red, blue, and yellow, and green. So, I mean, red, blue, and green primary colors in light. Red, blue, and yellow. Cyan, magenta, and yellow. The primary, the subtractive. Anyway, I'm not going to get into color theory and history and all of that stuff. We made up primary colors. Anyway, these blocks spark my joy. This is making so much sense now, because we'll have to transfer over to rune stones. Because of these simple drawings, they blew my mind on wood, and I was obsessed with these last year. I did them in the Advent calendar. I will be bringing that back this year, but I'm going to fix it up. So I'm going to have a cheat sheet or a guide to go along when I open the Advent calendar, and when I pull out the letter of the day, I'll already have the things that I'm grateful for, so I don't have to think about and let my brain forget what I'm talking about. And then we'll also pick out a precious stone, and we will find out the meaning of that and what that means today. And we'll find out whatever we have to do about the precious stone. So I have to say that the gratitude is probably the best thing, and I've heard a lot of people say this too, people in the self-help community, in which, again, that's just another religion. But what's the point? I mean, the point is we have to look for what we need, and I guess that's what we do, and that kind of sums up this whole video, isn't it? People, self-help is a religion for them because they might need it, or they do need it. I'd have to say that everybody needs some help. We all need help. Maybe some more than others. Anyway, I got my help. I got my ADHD diagnosis. Did I get a piece of paper? No. Did I learn anything new about myself? No. In fact, it pushed me further in the direction that I knew I didn't want any medication. I like the way that my brain works. In fact, I'm so lucky that my brain works the way it is. Otherwise, I'd be like miserable and yeah. All right. So those blocks, rune stones. So I guess I was looking up ancient artifacts, and I found out that rune stones aren't that old. They're not as old as I want them to be. I'm going to have to get some Mesopotamia. One thing that I just learned about, I just asked AI about Mesopotamian artifacts, and they told me something about a bracelet of cylinder tiles that was kind of like your signature. So it's like your insignia, and you would roll it in the clay to identify yourself. This is or to sign something, but it had some kind of spiritual meaning too. I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to have to get a bracelet like that for sure. But I wanted rune stones, and when I looked on Amazon to buy some rune stones, so I realized that I'm not going to get, here's something really cool to say. I was going to say, I realized I wasn't going to get the oldest possible thing. Like, I couldn't get actual rune stones because those are in museums. I can't get actual tarot cards from the 1400s because they actually don't even exist. They only have partial ones, from my understanding, for ones that actually existed. So, I mean, I don't mind a reproduction. Did I mention that because I couldn't find the tarot cards that I wanted, that I actually printed these out on my favorite kind of paper, and I specifically did them in black and white, and I specifically looked for ones that looked like they were black and white. And then I don't even remember how I did this, but I even cut out the corners, and I did it by hand. I think what I did was I found the right angle on something, and I traced out each corner, and I mean, they're perfect, which is not something. I'm not very good at cutting. As crafty and creative as I am, things like that, painting, I mean, I guess I learned in recent years that I can paint, I just have to slow down. That's what I learned about my whole life, is that I have to slow down. That goes back to me finding enlightenment, is that I had no choice. I do things very, very slow, can only concentrate on one thing at one time. So I've been meditating my whole entire life, which is what everybody else who's indoctrinated with making money and being more efficient, just, it wasn't a possibility for me. So there's a brief example of why and how. But runestones. So I guess that's more from my Scandinavian roots, I guess. So I do have a connection to these, but I couldn't find ones that were inexpensive or on Amazon, where sometimes they print them on wood, sometimes they print them on rock. They were either on rock, wood, or bone originally, but they're symbols that tell fortunes. And what I found was a silicone mold, and I had some gold hot glue. It took me I had to melt this glue down a few times to get it right, and I tried different hot glue, but I had some gold hot glue, and whoa, my computer's acting weird. This is pretty cool. So, I mean, there were different iterations of these that I tried, and they kind of look like ice cubes because they're so perfect, but I think I might have to try making them again. But that's kind of cool. I mean, they're made out of hot glue. They're made out of plastic. So, but the texture of the hot, like, I chose the hot glue, I chose the silicone mold. It's just like these cards, which isn't me like drawing them by hand or anything, but I specifically chose the style of card, I chose the style of paper, and I chose the design that I preferred, the oldest looking ones that resembled the original ones that would have existed. So I do feel this. I have told this story again, but when I was younger and I was experimenting with the occult, I'm remembering this because I used a plastic yogurt container lid, and I had this book from the library. It was a kid's book, and it was on fortune-telling devices and making them, which was kind of cool. But it taught you how to, or told you to make a wheel. So I made this wheel with a yogurt container and like a pin stuck through it and the alphabet on it. And I was asking it questions like, will my father be coming home tonight? Spinning it. There's the neglect trauma thing. I didn't know if he was coming home or not. And so I was asking it, and it told me yes, it actually was right, I believe, in that scenario. But then I think I asked it, and then I, what's the first letter in the alphabet? And I spinned it around, and it said, and it landed on A, and then I ripped it apart, and I was scared. So, and then I never used it again. So, I mean, that was that confirmation biased? The chances of that 1 in 26, the alphabet. These are the alphabet too. I mean, okay, Stan. These are basics. Okay, alphabet. There's another connection. The blocks and these and the alphabet. Another thrifted antique bowl that I like. A wooden vessel representing the water, representing wood, representing earth. I mean, amazing. So also something that I found in here, and this is actually a good example of all of this, was in the hope chest. This is something that a neighbor of where I grew up. So this is what the rocks look like on the shore of where I grew up. And there's this man who makes things out of rocks. Basically, he drills holes in them, and I think he's quite successful with it. But this is one of the things that he made, and I mean, it's a Christmas tree, right? Kinda tacky, but at the same time, it's not. And I can change it around, and it can look. If I put them out of order, it can look. It would look more like probably like a person or something. Oh, it looks like a snowman now. But I mean, like native ruins are native anyway. It kind of doesn't matter that you can make it a Christmas tree shape, because that's kind of what this video is about. And it's metal and stone, and that's what it's made out of. And it's kind of cool, I guess, and that's why I kept it. I get rid of a lot of things. There's a lot of things that I have that are supposed to be meaningful to my family, but this is something that I kept. I mean, just while I was speaking, when I was doing this video, my brain left it behind, but I forgot to mention it, so I'm going, this is older. So me searching for the oldest things, the oldest artifacts of advanced humanity, of humans like starting to write, or humans starting to play, or humans starting, there's this evolution. I just wanted like something that had the most power. That's what these objects are. But then I'm realizing that this really is the oldest thing. This is the oldest thing on Earth. It's rock. It doesn't get any older than this. I mean, rocks are being formed and created all the time, so I don't know how long, but it was definitely created before humans were created. So there's nothing older than these stones. So I definitely have to appreciate that. And that's really cool. And should that bring us to the future? Telling the future? So this is two different things that I put together. I don't know. I don't even remember where I bought this. This I would have thrifted. It was like a jam jar that I have the lid to it too, which would have gone into here. I think it was a jam jar. It looked like a church. It looked old. It looked like it's made out of silver. It has power. It's even unhinged here. And this, a sphere. Oh, that's something else that I'm obsessed with right now, is spheres. And we didn't talk too much about the stars and the planets. I've been really thinking about them, and it has to do with the shape of everything. And I'm realizing that the universe isn't a shape, and then there's this whole cylinder thing that's going on in our DNA and in the solar system, and tubes are, well, I'm not gonna talk about that stuff anyway, but there is something, there's a reason everything is spherical, and then everything's rolling around each other, and that these things and the rocks that I like the most are, geometric, like a little block or sphere is going to be very, very important to me. This geometry, probably the fact that these stones, do you notice that they're circular shape? There's a reason behind all of this, because of the rotation and everything that's going on in the planet, and it's the imperfections of these circles that made life happen. Like that I know. That is my caveman instinct. That is my truth, is that the reason that life happened, this wonderful thing where something separated from the earth, where rocks grew legs and walked and separated themselves, that is because of the imperfections in earth. So as much as I love a perfect circle, it's the imperfections that make the magic happen, like the true magic. Something else that maybe that's the segue. So anyway, the segue into this is that we had all of these miracles that were documented. And I also made this correlation just yesterday when I was cleaning the pool, was that the reason the Bible was definitive was because that was probably, no, in fact, I think I asked AI, that was when books were being bound. It was like, that is why these stories, they finally had to decide on if these were the stories. They curated. There were more stories. There were other stories. They threw out Thomas's story and they took in John's story, and I mean, that's the later Testament and stuff. But they gave them names, and they said, and they've all these legends, and they put them all together, and they lasted all this time. And there's all these connections between the spice trade, evolution of humanity, and all of these different societies that were arising at the same time, and their connection. And so they had to come up with a definitive lore, and then I just think that the churches and the people in the power just thought that they had to control the population, because of course everything was getting out of control, like the Wild West, for example. Space. Did we talk about space? So this I have to say, this is like, when I was a kid and I used to build things with Lego, or even just, this is what I hoped for. This is what I hoped for was invented. Did we do everything else? Yeah, I guess this is a good way to end this. So I am obsessed with space and astronauts. And I guess I'm not going to put the cards in the binder. I guess I'll do that on my own, because this video will get too long. I also want to look at those space cards and see what they're about. It's a shame that they're in German and I can't read German. But there's this thing. Oh yeah, can you see? So this is nothing. In fact, it's a baby toy. I think I'm going to return this one. I think there's an example of a better one that I ordered. It's no longer available on Amazon, but it still says that it's being delivered Wednesday. It has extra switches. I think it has sound. The reason I accidentally ordered the one that had, I don't know, is this irony? Is this it came with the alphabet. It came with the colored baby alphabet on the back. I kind of wanted something that was a little more steampunk, that was like a mystery, that it was like, I don't know. This is like a fidget toy, which kind of, it fits right in with being on the spectrum and everything. It's got this mirror here. This battery, it says like battery on it, but I turned it around the other way to make it look more generic. And I want one that doesn't have this lettering on it. Anyway, the other one I'm getting has a key and stuff. I don't know if it's going to show up. It might be out of stock, and I might never get it. So I might have to just keep this one. Maybe sand this down maybe appreciate that this is a happy accident. However, these drawings that have animals on them for each letter of the day, which is something we're doing with the Advent calendar, I'm going to be grateful for each letter of the day. But I don't know what I can't make out what all of the animals are. Hey, if somebody wants to do that, if somebody wants to write down what every single one of these animals are, that's a video for another day. I don't know if to review this. This is something that's magical. Like, I don't usually open toys without reviewing them on my toy channel, but this was kind of like an adult toy. There's no purpose to this. It is just fidgets. We are drawn to lights and switches. Babies love lights and switches. That's another thing. Another thing that fits into all of my what would a caveman do religion, and this thing that I have about baby toys, and the thing that I have about this thing that I have about babies. And I realized also very recently, which again, I probably realized this a million times over my lifetime, but it's the same thing. They act the same way. It's this primitive mind that knows exactly what it wants. And there's this, and it goes also back to my ability to read people, is that the reason I have isolated myself from humanity is because people aren't themselves. They've changed themselves and adapted themselves. And when a baby cries and wants and talks, so when I'm in a store and I hear a baby cry or want something or talk about something, like babies that are just, young kids that, haven't been too indoctrinated yet, it breaks my heart. If it be it happy, sad, angry, any emotion, it's the same thing. And I realize that it's true authenticity, which is what this guy is. It's with no choice. I used to think that I was some kind of special person. Maybe I am now. That I'm definitely special, but in a different way. But I'm not gonna preach. I hate when another form of religion, us turning to YouTube with all of these authorities who don't know anything. So I'm not going to. As much as I do preach and dictate and tell, I know it is just my perspective, but a baby, and I realized that's why I've been obsessed with babies my whole entire life, and felt like a baby and wanted to stay a baby. That probably also goes back to neglect and attention and stuff. But I can't handle babies. In the best way I can handle them. I can't handle them. Babies are friggin' awesome. They're so raw and cute, and I feel their emotions when a kid is in a store and it wants a toy. It breaks my heart, and its parent isn't paying attention or doesn't like the raw wanting and needing and knowing exactly what they want, but the frustration and because nobody can understand them. I understand babies. All right. And then the baby talk, I'm not into baby talk at all. I talk to babies like they're on the same level as I am. So, all right. So there's this thing which was like, what is this? It's so cool. So amazing. I love this. I think I'm gonna do this right now. I'm gonna upload this video, and I'm gonna put those cards in my sleeve. If you want to see my card collection, I'll show you all of the cards. They're beautiful. They're pretty. I guess I'll do it later because I got things to do. I got more videos to record. I hate that I have to whisper. I hate that I can't record videos all the time comfortably. I hate that I can't be myself as much as I need to be myself. But I'm trying to fix it. It's just not working because of tariffs And like I'm trying to sell my toys, all of the things. I'm trying to get as less things, but the tariffs and the what's the other problem? Oh, there's a literal mail strike, so people aren't. I just went into eBay and I changed all of my settings so people could see US UPS first. Maybe that'll help, but I don't know if it helps for the tariffs. I saw one not non I was really scared. One thing that I sold, I was really worried because the toy was like a $50 toy, $50 or $60, and I saw that the tariffs on it were because the person wasn't home to accept it at the door, and I saw that the tariffs were $45 on it, and I don't know what that's about because it should just be taxes. I don't know what went on there. And I thought that the person wasn't going to pay it, and it was going to be sent back to me because and they said final attempt, but the person actually must have paid it. But that's not going to help. That's not going to help me selling things. There used to be people from the U.S. I'm Canadian. People from the U.S. could buy stuff from me up to $800 and not pay any. But they recently changed that so that they have to pay. However, you know what? Canadians, when buying from the States, we always had to pay on anything over $25. Well, not always, because that's the weird thing about these taxes and border things. Sometimes they charge you, sometimes they don't. But recently they've been really doing, I guess, it's Trump's fault. He's changing his mind, and from what I understand, just from asking AI, they said that this isn't changing though. It's not going back. So I guess I don't know. Some people did buy stuff, and I did get some good reviews from people who I know had to pay extra to receive the package, so that's part's good. Also, Canada Post can't deliver to the States because even Canada Post, the whole national Canadian postal system, they don't have it in their system to accommodate for these duties or taxes or tariffs or whatever they are that the Americans have to pay when ordering from Canada. It's really bad for small businesses. But I mean, some people are happy. At least I have things that aren't available anywhere else, so you have to come to me. And I always make sure that my price is the lowest possible price. It's lower than anybody else's price on eBay, so that's how I do that. But there has been a lull, even though I finally got the drive to sell things again. I finally have that fire under my ass, and I'm on a roll. I have to list at least one thing a day. I mean, sometimes it's really hard because I need to find things that are worth money, and then I'm sorting and organizing, and and then these obstacles happen. So I don't. But the worst possible scenario, this is what I've been. The worst possible scenario is that I get to keep nothing and I have to be homeless. And then guess what? That's kind of what I'm realizing, that it's not so bad. That's why I went to the doctor, because I was seeing homelessness as a better option than what I'm dealing with right now. And because of my values, it's not that I'm crazy. It's not my ADHD. It's that I legitimately feel that way. That just making sure that I find enough food, and that being my only option for the day, those struggles, I feel all of that. That's such an easier life for me. That life, struggling for just finding food, is a lot less than I'm already struggling for food. I'm struggling for everything right now. I'm struggling. So if I take away all of the other struggles, then my life just got way easier. So it's like a legitimate living in this society with what I have, knowing too much, the abilities that I have, the cost of living. It seems like my worst nightmare is my biggest fantasy, living on a beach, eating coconuts and melons off the tree. Doesn't sound so bad. It sounds amazing, in fact. So that is why my worst case scenario. However, I would love to be a YouTuber and have a nice apartment, a nice 2-bedroom apartment where I could have some toys in 1 bedroom. I don't even like. Right now I'm at now I used to think that it was now I'm down to a studio. That the possibilities of that, of making that much money, are like impossible. So yeah, and I can't. I gotta be on my own. It's the one thing I know. I can't. I mean, I say that, but I'm thriving. I'm not thriving. Every day has always been better than the next. I know what I love. So grateful again that I get lost in the moment, and I'm happy just being. I forget all of the. I can freak out. I can freak out like everyone else and get all stressed when I remember and I put myself, when I think too hard and think, oh no, I'm in this world. I would. I guess that's the state that a lot of people are in. But luckily, my defense mechanism is that I forget of all of the responsibilities that I can't keep up with. But I also know that I'm doing the best I can, and I am, especially recently, working really, really hard. A lot had to do with why I wasn't getting things done. There's this frozen thing that people do. You freeze when you're overwhelmed with too much to do and you don't know where to start. But the temperature, it was like over 100 for many days this summer. So I realized that I couldn't physically work. So it helps that the temperature is cooler. It helps that I've set games up. I know how to work with my brain better than any doctor can tell me. They actually tried to tell me. AI tries to tell me too. All things that I've tried before, just putting more steps. I mean, for a second there, I was going to say medication is the way. Like if I just take medication for a while, but I managed to make it so I could do the work without. I mean, again, temperature, all of these other elements. Right now, I still can't do the work because of uncontrol, things that are out of my control. I mean, I'm doing the work. It's actually really great because, I'm getting, I can stack up I can get as many things listed as possible without having to worry about getting them to the post office. So it's kind of good too that when people are ready to buy for Christmas, I got to think about expensive baby toys. What do I have that's an expensive baby toys? Because last year, November, December, baby toys selling like hotcakes. So I got to get my best expensive, hard to find baby toys on the website. All right, thank you for joining me. And I used to come to you for therapy. AI can't help me anymore. I got everything from AI until it gets over its affirmation period. It needs to be more mean to me. It also keeps forgetting what I tell it. So I mean, I use the Google one, and it doesn't remember everything you told it. I should probably look into the one that remembers, so it becomes your best friend. But it tells me the same things over and again, and it relies on the indoctrinated information. I actually so many times talk it out of telling me, like it once told me that I couldn't live on a beach for hygiene reasons, and I'm like, I would swim in the salt water. I would be more clean than I am now, and the salt water is healing, and it didn't understand that. And then I told it that it did, and then it has to look up the resources, and it finds out that I'm right, and it tells you a lot of lies and makes up a lot of stuff, and it says that you're right. Kind of can give me a God complex too, because it tells me I'm right way too much. I love my things. I have to put them away. The rune stones are my latest thing. Silicone mold. Make your own rune stones. I don't even know what to do with them. I gotta look into Mesopotamia games and stuff, and I gotta go blast myself into the past or the future with this board that's just amazing. Babies love buttons. I'll leave you with that.